Good day, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome everyone of our viewers and listeners to Trans and Intersex History Africa's Archival Conversations. I must also say again, Happy New Year to everyone, wherever you are. It is still a new year and it doesn't that our stories are told by us, preserved by us, guarded by us, and accessible for generations to come. By us, I mean trans and intersex, gender non-conforming Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora. And that is why every Friday we bring you these conversations as we create this living archive for generations to come. You know, through these conversations, we celebrate resilience, we celebrate activism, we celebrate courage, and we recognize those shaping our movement across the African continent and in the diaspora. Now, today is another special day, and it's another special guest. And this guest is actually from the small, beautiful country called Rwanda. Some people say it's in Central Africa. Some people say it is in Greater East Africa, but they would tell us where they come from. But before introducing our guest today, it is important to briefly situate our conversation within the context of LGBTIQ human rights in Rwanda. Rwanda presents a very unique landscape within East Africa. And unless I'm corrected, it is going to be Rwanda in East Africa, Greater East Africa. So same-sex relationships in Rwanda are not explicitly criminalized under national law, which distinguishes Rwanda from several neighboring countries. However, despite the absence of direct criminalization, LGBT persons in Rwanda continue to face significant social stigma and discrimination and limited legal protections. Many individuals face challenges accessing healthcare, employment, housing, and social services. For transgender and gender diverse persons in particular, barriers often include identity recognition, safety, and visibility. So because of these realities, activism in Rwanda has often focused on community building. It has focused on humanitarian support and creating safer spaces for LGBTIQ persons while navigating complex culture and social dynamics. So it is within this environment that courageous activists continue to emerge, building support systems and advocating for dignity and human rights in that country of Rwanda and in the long run in Africa. So help me, everyone, welcome and introduce our guest today from Rwanda. Our guest today is Musana Joan-Jones. Musana Joan-Jones. Join me. Yes, Musana. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good evening, good afternoon, Victor. Bonsoir, bon après-midi. How are you? Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really happy to be here.
You are welcome. You're welcome. And we are happy to have you on this show. And we are honored, actually, to sit with you today. But first things first, I know you've a little bit, no, a little bit more than a little bit. But I would like our guests, I mean, our viewers and listeners also to uh, know who Musana is. And from the bio that you sent me, I will share something with our viewers in way of introducing you. Musana, over there, is a transgender man and human rights defender from Rwanda. He began his activism in 2009 with Horizon Community Association, which is also known as HOCA, where he worked to advance the rights, visibility, and well-being of LGBTIQ communities in Rwanda. Over the years, Musana has collaborated with organizations in both Rwanda and Uganda, strengthening cross-border activism and community support networks. Musana is visually impaired and brings powerful lived experiences into both his advocacy and professional work. He currently serves as the executive director of a humanitarian organization or foundation, and also works as an assistive technician supporting people who are also visually impaired. Through his work, Musana continues to champion accessibility, as you will hear, inclusion, and human rights across both Rwanda and Uganda. Musana has contributed to our story in Africa. Musana, welcome to Trans and Intersex History Archival Conversations.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much, Tiha. Um, I go by the names of Musana Joan-Jones. A Rwandan, born in Uganda back in 1990, and a few tender years of mine was in Uganda, where we had to come back after genocide. So I practically started my
Oh,
primary school. Yeah,
Musana, I want people to understand your story very well. So we're going to go step by step and get into
okay.
that story. Uh, but right now, everybody knows who you are. I am very, very positive about that. Musana, is you said it's afternoon or evening there?
It's afternoon.
Yeah, and we are about to lose the light, so I will try my level best to get this before the light disappears. And for starters, Musana, Valentine's Day is coming. Uh, Valentine's Day is coming tomorrow, and today is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Do you have any plans for that?
Apparently, I don't have any plans for that because I don't celebrate Valentine's because I'm Muslim by religion.
Okay.
But I've been trying to take care of my person for the past week, so she doesn't get to miss the Valentine's celebrations, of course.
Right, and you love each other every day. That's good. We are waiting to see what comes out of queer Africa and trans Africa and intersex Africa tomorrow on Saturday. So, for starters, for your story, Musana, let us go back to the time, to where you come from, when, and what is happening there. You are a trans man. And definitely, at some point, you must have realized, I am different. So let's go back to where you start from, the kind of family you were raised in, and, and we shall go from there.
So, as I told you, I was born back in 1990 in
Yeah,
Zambia Hospital, to be specific.
right.
And my
And that
pops
was in
was,
Uganda?
sorry,
That was in Uganda?
Zambia Hospital.
So that is in Uganda.
Yes, in
Okay.
Machinde Division, I think, if I'm
All right.
correct.
All right.
I stand to be corrected if I'm mistaken. My dad was a military person,
Mhm.
so he was the chief of military police in Uganda by that time. So
Right.
I was born in the barracks in Machinde. Like that
Mhm.
was my first ever home. But then, as every Rwandan who was in Uganda, we were all there as refugees. So when my dad and his people decided to like come back this side and go through the war of genocide. Uh, when the country was liberated in 1994, we were all so happy to be back home. So by four, I came back to Rwanda.
Oh,
So that
so
was my
your family was in Uganda as refugees from Rwanda. And then, so you were
yes.
born in Uganda,
I
1990.
was
But at the age of
yes.
4, you returned to Rwanda
I
because
returned to Rwanda.
the country was now liberated from bad
Yes.
leadership, governance, and the genocide, right?
Yes, yes, that's when the genocide was stopped, so the country was free. So everyone, because like people like my grandma who had been in Uganda since 1959, could not wait to come back home. So we
Right.
all were brought back home, and that's where I started my primary school.
I see.
Um, and of course, by that time the country was still all French, so I went through my primary school in French. But
You
then,
spoke
lucky
French?
me,
Mm,
yeah, I'm not so fluent, but I speak French because the first years of mine were French most. So
okay,
when I was 8, I got a chance because I was sent to live with my uncle, and the
right.
nearest school by my home was an English school. So I was given a chance to transform to English, and that's where I finished my primary school. Then I went to secondary, still in Rwanda.
Or before you went
Uh,
to secondary school, in terms of your identity and discovering yourself, did anything happen around primary school, at home, at on the streets, in schools? Did anything? Was there any? Were you any
oh
different
my
from
God.
any children?
Okay. I think about my identity. My first shock in life was when I was 8. And kids of 8, they're playing around home, and we used to play a game called Tata and Mama. Daddy and Mommy.
Mommy and
So
daddy.
one girl used to always be the mother. Oh, and she could pick the father, whoever she liked that day. So one day she walks up and says, no, you guys, I'm all tired of you because you've all been papas. So today, Joan is going to be papa." And I was like, "Huh?" She's like, "Yes, today you're going to be papa." So we
Yeah.
acted like papa and mama from 8 years. But then, as a kid who has a grandma who is so Catholic, I thought it was like a bad omen or something. So
I'm
I had
still
to
here with
go
you.
to
Don't worry. Go on. Go on.
I had to go to my teacher in church and tell him, this is what happened, and actually, this is what went down. So, and we had to act everything like Papa and Mama, but he was like, I was put on they call it penitence. You try to like, they give you like things to do. You have to say the rosary 100 times. I was confused, but I went through it, and then, but still, I was never with girls at any playing ground. The other traditional thing they say in Rwanda, they call it guchimyeyo. In Uganda, I think it's the one they say oxika.
That is
You know,
a female genital mutilation. where
So,
where the where
uh,
the just for our viewers to understand, Musana is talking about a
uh-huh.
practice, a traditional practice, where they pull the labia minora of girls when they're growing up, so that they can
Yeah.
please
So
husbands.
they used to be like special aunties in the neighborhood who would take girls for that cultural purpose. They call it's a cultural practice. but I would never go there. And one time they forced me to go there, and I got to know the place where they used to be. So I
Yeah.
went and called my boss. I told them we have to go and look at these girls. What they I want you to go and see what they be doing there. So when we were caught, we were shamed, like we were beaten up seriously in the neighborhood.
Right. Right.
You're very stupid. How could you do that to your fellow girls and stuff? I would tell them, man, that thing is not mine.
Right. Right.
So when I changed from a French school to an English school, that school was like a kind of new school, and there was a lot of sports happening. So
Right.
instead of going to volleyball and
Yes.
netball for the girls, I
Yeah.
chose to go on the team of boys for football.
Right.
So
Right.
I was the only girl who was playing on the football team for boys, and that's
Right.
how I kind of like hid my anxiety of not feeling like girls, of not
Right.
wanting to sit with girls. So I would always hide myself in sports
Yes.
till I left primary. There was
Were you
incidents from
did you have any
the one
challenges
from
in primary school? Did that cause you
no
any
no no no
challenge?
no no. Of course, it was always like why. One time I was actually bullied so bad that the girls found me in the toilet and locked me inside the toilet. And they told me, if you don't show us your genitals, we are not letting you out. We believe you're a boy. Why do you always play with boys? Like, why do you always never want to be with us? So that time when I was in the toilet confined and thinking, "Well, how am I going to get out of here?" There was a friend of mine called Patrick who came in the toilet. So because we were just separated by like an iron sheet, I
Mm.
had him come in the toilet. So I called him. I was like, Patrick, how can you help me? These girls are here telling me if I don't show them my genitals, they are going to lock me inside this toilet until we go home. So the guy told me, let me show you how to we do it. He got his sweater and put it on the iron. So I jumped, threw myself in the bathroom for the boys, went out from the bathroom of the boys, and that's how I escaped. But that evening, the girls were like, "We are going to beat you up. How did you escape?" So what I had to do still, I told Patrick, man, these girls are, they're on my case. How do I escape this? And the guy, what he did was like, if you hear the bell of going home, don't care about your books, don't look at anything, just run to your home. I will bring you everything you leave in the school. And that's how I escaped. So I was always bullied by these small girls who
And
always wanted to like make.
that is in primary school, which we might call elementary school. Musana, tell me something. What was happening at home at that point? Were there any uh, challenges that you were facing because of your expression as a boy?
No, by that time I was not. I don't think anyone paid attention to me. They thought I was just a stubborn girl who never liked to be like a girl who just likes to play with boys. But of course, like
Yeah,
my grandma would tell me, "Yo, you have to be careful. You're gonna lose your virginity." You know how grandmas be like. They won't tell you exactly what happens when you come so close with the boys, but they will
right.
always warn you like, always play
About the
with boys.
boys.
They will break you. They would, they
Yeah,
would, you need to be careful. You're a girl. You're not a boy. Stop playing with
yeah,
boys. But of course, there was no incident at all. Like, she
right,
just thought I was a baby who liked playing with boys. But
right.
then, like an older person, or at one point in the future when we're talking, I'll tell you what she told me when she got to know that I was actually trans.
Transgender, of course.
She was,
Remember those
yeah.
days.
But
So,
at that moment,
basically,
I really had no problem.
Basically, as an infant, you expressed yourself as a boy, while the family knew you were a girl. At school, you were facing these challenges already, with identity and how you identified or how you expressed yourself. So, from this
Yeah.
English school, where did you go and how was life there?
Okay, so from my primary school, I go to my first ever boarding school.
First
Lucky
boarding
me
school. Okay.
because lucky me because I had passed so well in primary. I got a very nice school that was close to home and was in town. And then
Right.
an extra mile, my big sister was in the school and
Okay.
she was a candidate by that time.
Yes.
So I go, and then so unlucky for me, they give me boarding because my uncle thinks I need to grow up. I need to learn how to do things on my own. I need to defend myself on my own.
Mm,
So the first year was actually all bullying mainly because there was, why do you always wear a sweater even when it's hot? I could not tell them I'm trying to hide my boobs. I would always
oh,
tell them, I'm always cold.
right, right.
So I ended up with names like Kisweta, because most of the people who used to bully me were like my sister's classmates, who used to
Right.
always tell my sister, "Why is your sister like that? Why doesn't she wear makeup like everyone else? She's a
Mm-hmm.
young girl. She should be starting to look at boys. There are so many nice
Mm,
boys around. Why, why,
mm,
why?" So there was a lot of bullying because they thought I was not doing what the other
mm,
girls were doing, whereby the
mm.
girls were trying to do makeup, know which makeup is new, which boys look good. I was
You had
at
no business.
my football matches, and then I made it worse and joined the handball team. For that fact, most of the people like who were close to me sat me down and told me, "Yo, we have accepted you'll be sweaters, you'll be pants that look we don't know how, but we ain't gonna support this. You need to get out of that team."
Right, right.
They were like, "No, beautiful girl like you should be playing handball. No, 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 no way. Look at that ass. Look, look." And I used to be a chubby girl, so they
Mm,
used to find me like I should be doing all these sexy things that girls
mm,
do, but then that was not me. I was still boy, like from how I grew. But
mm.
then, my first year, mainly, I was bullied but protected and on the other side because my sister was always there. Anytime I was
Mm.
bullied, sometimes she would come up and tell her, that's how she is. Leave her. She will grow up and do all of those things you're telling her. She's still young. And then because I was the youngest in the boarding, so
Mm.
they used to take me like, this is still a baby. You leave her, you leave her, you leave her. But then S2 came where my sister was not around, and then I have to navigate the whole school by myself. And then I'm also growing up like a teenager. I'm starting to look at different girls and be like,
Yeah, yeah.
what am I gonna do? So,
Mm.
but I had taken the other advice from the big girls who were telling me, "Yo, wherever you are, you need to get like someone, even if they're just your friend, but who is a boy who shows a bit of interest in you so that you hide." Because at one
Right.
point I reached and told my sister's best friend that I don't really like the boys that you're telling me to look at.
Let
I
me ask
feel
you
like I'm
something.
a,
That they give you this kind of advice as a teenager. Wait, did you have any attractions at all?
yeah, yeah,
And what was
that's
your
when they were starting. That's when they were starting. I was 14 years and I was in the school, so I had a crush on this girl, but
okay?
then I didn't know like what to do, and then I was scared because I had never seen anyone like me in the school. But then, lucky me still, I had met Nasha. You remember Nasha? So at
Yes.
least I knew there was this one person who feels like me, who looks like me, but we were all like we didn't know what to do with with ourselves. So the
So
only thing
did
we
you
had
know
to,
about lesbians?
sorry.
Did you know about, apart from you and Nasha, did you know about other women who were attracted to other women? Had you ever heard about anything like
No,
that?
no, not at all. I
Mhm.
thought I was an abomination. I thought I was actually crazy at one point.
All
I
right.
thought it cannot be possible. This is what they say, that some people are really evil. Like, I could not imagine another person, but then I knew Nasha because we met when we were really young.
Okay,
But
so then you
because we
fall
were,
in, so you get a crush on this girl at school. And did that cause
Mhm.
you problems?
It caused me a lot of problems because
Mm.
uh, I actually made a plan with someone in my dormitory who was older than us. She was an A6 person, and I knew she was not uncomfortable with sleeping in a dormitory that has S2s and S4s. So, what I did, I talked to her and talked to the other person who was a head girl and told her that they could bring that girl because she used to sleep also. I had like looked for all the news about her, and I knew she used to sleep in another dormitory that had only S6, and she was the only S2 there. So I told that girl to talk to the head girl, and they made the change. So the person who I had a crush on came into my dormitory, and the other
Right,
person left to the down dormitory. So that is how
right,
I actually managed to like start talking to her because she was not even around when I did
right,
the exchange.
right, right.
She had gone back home because she was sick.
Hmm.
Then I
Yeah,
did the exchange, and then she came back. I told her, you're sleeping in my dormitory these days because we did
right.
this exchange." But she was also happy because she liked the dormitory. So that's how we
Yeah.
started talking.
Okay, so it
And
looks
then,
like in secondary school, as you went higher, you realized you were attracted to women. But also,
mm,
did you say at that point you also felt like you identify more with boys?
yes.
Okay, so then when you left school, if we can move forward, when unless there is something very special you want to say about the time at school, we can move forward because I see that after school, at some point, you enter into activism, and I would like to hear the story of how you start engaging in that. Is there anything else that happened that is worth sharing uh, at school?
No, the best thing that happened at school was like, mm, even though I was attracted to that girl, I didn't know
Yes,
what to say. I didn't know what to do, and I thought it was wrong in the first
yes,
place. So
yes.
what special thing happened was when I was in S5, I was
Mm,
changed now from a government school to an international school. So this is what happened, Victor.
mm,
I think my sports teacher saw me like just the way someone looks at you, and they know they can tell what you are, because I
right.
also think she was she was trans because she used to play on the she's the only woman who has played on the Australian football team, which was a man's team, like American football, not this
Yeah,
soccer,
yeah,
but
yeah.
American. So she was my sports teacher who saw
Was she
what I
a
was
sports
going
teacher
through.
at the international school or the government school?
No, at the international school.
All
Government
right.
school was all hiding and stress and everything.
Okay.
But then
All
at the
right.
international school, this teacher saw me, and because she also used to be my counselor, so I
Yeah.
opened up to her. And one thing she gave me was like I get you, I understand you, but you're still young. Like she gave me this courage and like comfort to like you are not wrong. You're in the right body. You're probably not in the right body, but for the time being, take a day at a time. So that is actually how I gained my I can say my confidence back, because
At
for
that
the
point.
past, yes, at that point I felt I was not alone, because she told me point blank she was like me, and she was not ashamed, and she used to show it at school, not of course show it like sexually or what, but through acts, how
Mhm.
she would talk to people, like she wouldn't
Right.
discriminate, whoever you are she would take you
Expressions of
in.
thought. Yeah.
So that's how
At this
I met
point,
her.
had you heard of the word trans? Number one,
She's
like,
called Dina.
no, had you heard about trans at this point,
At this
or
point
transgender?
had I had not had like real information, but at this point I had met like a couple of trans people, trans women specifically.
Right.
Like, yeah, 3 to 4 of them. So I was starting to like grow my circle. So I
Which
had
year?
gotten to know this.
Which year was that, and how did they identify? Because it's important for us to know, what people called what during those days. Which year was that when you met these first trans people? How
So
did they
those
identify? Did they identify as trans?
that year was 2007, and they identified themselves as gay people.
Okay, they were gay people.
Um, yeah, they but for the information I have now and for the transformation they've gone through, they are
Yeah,
trans women right now.
right. So these you met
And at
them
that
during
time,
school or
I
after?
I met them I met them during that time when the Rwandan community was hosted in Uganda. Do you remember that? I think Kasha Farouk was in charge of that.
Yes,
So remember, I have a family in Rwanda. I have a family in Uganda. So I used to go in Uganda for holidays. So
yes.
I met them at Kikozi. Someone I had met someone, and they had introduced me to Kikozi. So we would go there to see people who are like us, to meet people who are like us. But I would only do it in holidays because I wasn't staying in Uganda. So this one day, they take me there, and
Yeah,
I meet everyone there, like everyone that you know,
yes,
everyone that you know.
yes.
And Naomi is there, Kasha is there, and they are so happy to meet this young, booblish person. They introduce themselves, they tell me a bit of themselves, and then those two people, I knew them from Rwanda because
So these
they
were
had
the
told
trans
me
women you're
that
talking about.
yes, it
Okay.
was Bebe and Shema, and yeah, I think, and Maddox. Yeah, so they that is the first time I actually met like the whole community or everyone I know right now. But then I was
Your first trans women, trans people you met in Uganda, but during your school days, even in high school in Rwanda or holidays in Rwanda, did you ever meet any other people that were trans?
so of course as any teenager when you're in holidays you go to different places. So
Yes,
because I only knew Nasha, and we would call each other and you know try to understand like where can we go, where can we go, where can we go look for people like us. So there was a place in Rwanda. It's actually a city in Rwanda. It's called Nyamirambo.
yes,
So it's where it was believed that most of us are like be or come from there. So one day Nasha invites me when she was with those girls. Like I come from home, I go and I met them at a bar. It was called, but by that time it was called Junior. and I was told that that's where they used to convene for their community work, or anytime they wanted to come together, that's where they
Right.
used
Right.
to meet. So
Yeah.
that evening, I met most of them,
So,
and
which
we
this is around 2007 in Rwanda, and the question is, I guess, is these people, when you all met at this place that you're talking about, were you meeting as gay people, or some people knew they were meeting there as trans people?
mm. So, as me who was coming from outside, I was told that that's where, when they want to talk about their issues as people who know are different, and the small community they have gathered around, that's where they meet. So, as a new person, I was like, why do you actually have to meet here? They were like, we are trying to, like, give our voices out to be heard, because we are facing a lot of troubles. You might not be going through the same thing we're going through, because you're still in school and probably you have a good family, but that's when they started telling me different stories about themselves, how some of them were out of homes because of discrimination, because their parents didn't want them home, because they were caught, and they were chased by their families. So they were just there trying to, like, come together to see how they can help each other.
Yes, and that is around 2007. Musana, did any people there identify as trans? Was there a conversation of transgender or about
That at
transgender
that
during those days?
at that moment at that moment, nobody knew what
Mhm.
trans was.
Right, right, right.
The the main people that were common, whether you were trans or intersex, you were called gay or lesbian. That was
Uh,
the only two genders that were, like, visibly known.
right. And Musana, by that time you were not visually impaired. Your eyes were functional.
Yes, I wasn't visually impaired. I was fully
Okay.
functioning.
All right. So
Yeah.
you meet with these people in Rwanda, and was that HOCA?
That was HOCA.
So tell us how you get involved in HOCA now.
So, as I met them and they told me everyone their different stories and what they are doing, I felt like, okay, I could join you guys after I'm done with school, and I see what I can add on the community. So I stayed. I didn't join right there, but we stayed in touch. So everything they would be doing, if I had time, I would come around. But most of the times, I wasn't active. I was not yet active at that moment, but I was known, and I had promised them that if I'm done with school and I'm
Yes.
flexible to, like, you know, get out of the gate like they are, I would
Mm.
do that. I wasn't rebellious like the way I was after that. But then
And
I think I started activism, like real activism, back in 2009, because then um, the MPs in Rwanda wanted to pass the anti-gay bill.
right.
So I joined HOCA then, and I was part of the group that did the press conference about
Wow.
LGBTI lives in Rwanda,
Was that
which
the first
made
press conference ever?
that was the very first press conference. That was
2000.
when we, like, were introduced and everyone got to know what was going on.
Right.
And most of us at that time, the Muslim clergy was looking for us to be killed and be thrown,
Right.
stoned to death. Then we had prepared and we were ready. We knew that would come and that was going to happen. but we managed to stay safe wherever we were. And lucky us, the decision was overturned, not in even, I think it was less than 6 months. So after that, we came back and we continued community work. Um, that was 2009, 2010. I think that is when 2009 actually. That was the first time I was. I think I came to Carl for a workshop,
The
and
Coalition of
yeah,
African Lesbians.
yes, that was my
Mhm.
first time. Like really now trying to get to know how is this community of ours working. Like how can we help each other.
Mhm.
Then back in 2010, I
Or
was sent
before
to the
2010, just to take back our viewers and listeners, Musana, in brief, has mentioned in the beginning, as we introduced the show, we mentioned that Rwanda has no criminalization against
Mm.
homosexuality, and most of what is happening to queer people is social, cultural, and that sort of stuff. It is important to note that in 2009, Rwanda attempted to criminalize homosexuality for the first time, which a decision which was overturned, and therefore
I actually, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think in the whole East Africa, we were the very first one who were slapped with that anti-gay bill.
okay,
I think it was even Uganda, but
right.
we managed to talk to different partners.
Mhm.
Most of where we were going, the reasons they were giving us was like they thought it was a case of people who are on the streets, like sex workers, and they believed that trans women were are killing other women because they were stronger, and then they were taking the men from the other women. That is why they were trying to abolish us. So they were like, but it's not all about that. We are not all sex workers. If there's even a sex worker who has killed a person, it's their own, like their own deed, but we are not all like that. So we had a lot of we met a lot of partners, and we tried to talk to them like convincingly. I think Popo Kimani uh, was once at our parliament. I think she gave, because none of us would do that, so we actually sent her for ourselves.
So we are talking
So
about
after
Ted
that,
Imani from Kenya, an activist, a human rights defender from Kenya, actually
yeah,
supported the activists in
she
Rwanda
actually
during
supported us, and what's her name again? What's his name again? Vidikazi from South Africa.
did you say Vilakazi? Is that Fikile Vilakazi?
Yes, so during that moment, it
Yes.
was a bad moment for us, but lucky as we had support from very good queer people that I remember.
Yeah.
And Fikiri Vilakazi was like our
Mm,
mentor. She took
mm,
us through every bit of the conference. There was a lot
right,
of news people, Victor,
right.
from CNN, BBC,
Yes.
I think Al Jazeera. Everyone was there. So
That was
for the people that we were and how young we were, and most of us, the
mm,
problem we had was like most of us had dropped out of school, so we were
yeah,
all in panic. So if we didn't have Vilikazi, and
yeah,
then we always used to have a mama who was very strong, who would talk one word and you will all be like, we are doing this. That was
right,
Naomi Ruzindana, who was
right.
our executive director at that moment. And I
Executive director of HOCA.
yes, she was
Right.
the executive director of HOCA.
Right.
Actually, the founder, the mother, and the grandmother. She was everything to HOCA.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and we also had you in the background because whoever was connected to Naomi, we knew would always give us support because we had you, we had our good friend Bombastic Kasha. We used to
Mm-hmm.
call her Papa
Mm.
because he was
Papa to
like
many.
our guardian at that moment.
That's the
So
one
we
lesbian I
really had,
Papa to many.
sorry,
That's one lesbian I know who is Papa to many.
yes.
Yeah. So basically, you were having
Yes.
support from the rest of Africa in
Oh
fighting
my God,
that
we had a lot of support.
in fighting that
We were
legislation.
like the babies. We were like the babies of Africa at that time.
That's right.
The
I remember the
two
period.
babies of Africa at that time.
I remember the period that time, and I'm very proud of you all for for your resilience. During that time, before and after the proposed law, what kind of challenges, insecurities were the queer community in Rwanda, facing? Were there arrests? Were there, what kind of?
After that, after that, the main insecurities we faced was communal. You know,
Mm, mm,
because they never really like put laws in place.
yes.
It was just mentioned and thrown under the rug. So
Mm,
the
mm,
community people,
mm,
especially for most of us who have like families who are so religious,
mm.
we continued facing a lot of discrimination,
Right.
people being thrown out of homes, people
Mm,
losing their jobs,
mm.
and then accessibility of the hospitals, especially if you were like so visible, like
Right, right.
people like trans women and trans men
Mm,
cannot hide. A lesbian could
mm,
hide at any moment, but we tend to be so visible. So anyone on the street would like, there were, first of all, there were arrests that were not made
right,
right,
right, right.
whereby you would find like a community member was actually in a mistake or they fought with a person, but then the other person was left let go, and then the community member was left himself. Like for 3 days, we would have to go around looking for, well, whoever is missing, where is he? You have to go
So the
to
victims were the
different.
ones thrown into jail.
Yeah, there was nobody who was taken to jail, but most of them
Ah,
were taken to police stations. And
right.
when you're at the police station and no one was you when you are arrested, it gets
Yeah.
complicated. Like they need to look for you because people have
Mm,
to go through all the police stations, and sometimes you'd get there and they were like, "Ah, no, we are not jailing him. We're just teaching him how to behave like a man."
mm.
And
And
those small injustices were there,
Rwanda has had
and
those challenges socially so much, and I'm sure that is still happening. John Jones, is there any trans organizing in Rwanda now? Do you know of any and when it started? Because I know you're working between two countries.
right now in Rwanda there is one trans organization. I
Wow.
think it's about 15 years old.
Oh,
Um, yeah, yeah. I've been to their trans pride once.
Rwanda has had
Uh,
trans pride.
so this is what happens in Rwanda,
Okay.
cause uh we they cannot convene more than 150 queer people in one place.
Right.
not because they cannot afford it, but because of um, the little problems in courts we move along with, the drama that we always bring around town when we're here.
Yeah.
So what they do is, um, every capable person
Mm.
does like a collaboration with an organization, and they look for funds, and then they do from like the week of Idaho Beat to
Mm.
from the celebration of Idaho Beat to
Right.
15th of August.
Right.
Every weekend they make a theme for Pride. So they could be like, that organization
Mm.
collaborates with another organization that is has like LGBT in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they do like
Yeah.
they do a trans pride today. They do a different pride the other week until
Ah.
you understand.
So,
Like, let's say you see
yes.
the US, how we have Atlanta Pride,
Yeah,
Washington
so it
Pride,
will be very
Pride.
interesting for us to find out more about, that first trans pride in a future interview. It will be very interesting. But looks like Rwanda has the longest pride. If every week there's something pridey that
Trust
happens.
me, Victor. I keep telling people they should visit Rwanda during Pride Month. No, it's not
Yeah,
a Pride Month. It's Pride Month.
months because
Like,
it's from Idaho Beat to August. That's a long
yes,
period of
August
pride.
15th. So, so all they like come out. They really come out, and Rwanda are happy people. They keep trying to, like, you know get something to push them for another day. So anytime you're organizing anything, they will show up. They
All
don't
right.
care what kind of day it is.
Yeah, so Musana, you can say that right now there is a trans movement in Rwanda.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is. There
yeah,
is. There is, and I think it's growing.
yeah,
And because I also believe
yeah,
we are the most, in Rwanda. Trans women, if we go to count one on one,
yeah.
trans women are most in Rwanda. Like,
Wow,
it's it's
wow.
it's it's this it's a new Philippine.
Wow, that's a very important point, and we would like to meet more of these trans people here at the
Yeah.
show. Now that we have
Uh-huh.
you, I think that is gonna get easier. So we encourage you all to have our stories documented. Now,